Have you ever felt like you've been on top of absolutely everything?
No. Is that even possible?
Oh, I don't know. But I think the only time you ever feel like that is when you manage to forget about everything and you don't have like a care in the world because you're on holiday or up a mountain. But realistically, in day-to-day life, and I'm sure everyone listening to this or watching this can relate, you often feel overwhelmed just with too many tabs open in your head, too much going on. So that is what we're going to talk about today because it's been quite relevant for us recently.
Yeah.
And then hopefully give a few tips, tricks, pieces of advice to go along with it.
Wow.
Nice.
I think this might be best location yet, and we've been to some pretty cool places.
That's a cool house.
Tell me about Lanhydrock, Ed. I know you're dying to.
This is one of the finest National Trust properties in the country. Built in the 1600s by the Robertson family, made all their money in tin because we are in Cornwall. The tin mining was very lucrative back in the day.
Wow.
It was a Jacobean mansion to start with, and then it burnt down in the early 1800s, but was rebuilt into this masterpiece you see behind us. It's also got one of the finest examples of a plaster ceiling in one of the halls inside.
Things you come out with. Oh my God. My poor brain.
Interesting though, isn't it?
That's so interesting.
No.
More plaster.
But it's also got 1,000 acres of estate land, so we're going to go for a hobble. We are probably the youngest people here right now, but also the most disabled and the slowest. We've already had lots of comments.
You two look like you've been in the same accident.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
just
we do.
a reminder, Lois has done her Achilles, so she's got a boot on, and obviously my spinal cord injury means I'm wobbling around. So let's go for a wobble, shall we?
Wobble, wobble. Exactly that. I mean, even today, I'm thinking, you know, we just love to squash so much stuff in. I would love to be able to like walk around that house. Like, I've seen the beauty of it, but we are literally like on the tightest time scale, and I'm like thinking about all the other things that I have to do later.
We've nipped in here on the way up country because we've got to get to an M2M weekend, which obviously really excited about. But we've got like 52 minutes. Let's do a video.
We're gonna fit it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. I think, how would you feel when you're overwhelmed? Like, do you actually notice when you are, or do you think quite a lot of the time it will just pass you by and you're just kind of stressed? What does it feel like?
I think when you hit proper overwhelm, for me, I feel irritable and anxious.
I pick that up sometimes.
Yeah, irritable and anxious. Sometimes just an underwhelming, like this sort of undertone of anxiety where you can't really describe where it's coming from. Also,
what does that feel like? Is that like, bodily? What's happening
I don't know.
there?
It's like tight chest, feeling of like butterflies almost, but not know where to put it. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're nervous or excited, nervous before something, whether that be like, I don't know, speaking publicly or playing sport before a big game or something, you feel that same feeling, but you know why it's there and you know it's about to be released, so it doesn't frustrate you. But like sometimes with overwhelm, you've just got that constant feeling steadily ticking away in the background, and it is really taxing.
Yeah.
And it's tough to know where to put it if you don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll talk about that, won't we, in terms of like tips on how to release it. But yeah, for me, it's I also struggle to like make decisions when I'm in that overwhelmed stage. I definitely can't be creative. So like for me, it feels like a block. Like I'll just be staring at my work and nothing's coming.
Yeah.
And like you can really feel it when you're not overwhelmed or in that state. You are in like more of a flow and just things come to you easier. But yeah, it's not a very nice feeling.
No.
And I think actually a lot of people probably don't sit there and actually recognise it quick enough. Like we'll let it build up. And I guess that's what actually happens when you turn to burnout, isn't it?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
also like to think, I heard a nice analogy when I did my mental health first aid of like the stress cup. And you can only put so much stress in your cup, and actually everybody's cup is a different size. So like you might be able to handle more stress than me, so you can't really compare. But if that cup gets too full and it overspills, then that's when you're going to be into overwhelm.
Because often, like on that analogy, you're looking for one thing that's causing the stress, but it's usually lots of stuff.
Things.
And there might be one thing going on that is taking your cup car, get run over. Taking your cup quite high, and then so just little things will tip it over the edge. And that's when you're like, I don't understand how that little thing has triggered me so much or caused me so much anxiety, but it's because it's not the little thing, it's the build-up of other stuff. So, you know, whether, I mean, post-accident, or like with you when you first did your Achilles, or like when you've got family problems going on, the tiniest little thing can trigger that feeling of overwhelm, but it's actually because the big stuff's there as well. And sometimes the big stuff has to be there, right? You can't shift it. Like, you can't just fix yourself straight away.
No.
And I went through that process too. And sometimes it's because of other people who you can't control too. But then it's like, okay, what can I control?
Yeah.
I'm focusing on those little things to be able to pour little bits. Or what can I let go of? Pour little bits out of the cup.
I was going to say, actually, I like to envisage the cup to have a little tap on the bottom. And if you can turn the tap and actually...
Tap on the bottom.
Thank you. I like to envisage that you've got a tap at the bottom of your cup. And if you release that tap, then, and those are things like that you enjoy doing, so exercise or going for a walk, things that light you up, then that makes the cup, that makes you release the tap.
Yeah.
And then the cup becomes less full.
Yeah. And sometimes, and I think often, hold that for a sec, often you have the opposite response, because overwhelm, so speaking from a personal standpoint for us, recently comes from workload and taking too much stuff on and having big projects on, and a few things, deadlines coming at the same time. And sometimes you just try and push harder into that to try and solve the problem. But like the other day, you were like, you just have to go for a walk. And for me, I was like, it's Thursday, I cannot spend 3 hours away from my laptop because I've got all these different things on. And you were like, look, they're not going to go anywhere. And if you actually ask yourself, look at the rest of the week, where you can spend time on things, go for a walk, and obviously, practice what you preach. But we do need to keep being reminded of this stuff.
100%.
It's constant. It made such a big difference. So let's rewind a bit. The feeling of overwhelm, what is happening, like, neuroscientifically?
Yeah, so I think you're basically going into fight or flight, aren't you? So your nervous system is in that state of danger. It thinks that the overwhelm is a lion trying to eat you, as simple as you can put it. So you need to remind the brain that actually it's safe and it's okay. Like we did this the other day, you think you've got all of these million things to do, but you can use different tools, if it is around work anyway, that you can plan out your week. This helps me so much, plan out your week to actually put the things that you need to do dotted in, so it doesn't all feel like you've got to do it all on one day. And then also just really making sure that you've got time in for the things that you enjoy, and then that just kind of puts my mind at ease. And also, one that I found this week, because I felt really stressed, was just starting my morning differently. I've got into the really bad habit of scrolling on my phone in the morning and staying in bed. Just because of my Achilles at the moment, it feels like it's so much more effort
you don't
to get out of
have
bed.
to go to an office, so you literally can get your laptop out and start working from bed.
I know.
And the next thing is it's midday and you're like...
And you just feel just like crap.
Yeah, because you haven't hit any daylight and haven't moved.
And I just think our phones as well are the devil.
Yeah.
Like, if you start your day with that, it just stunts your productivity. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't put you in the best state of mind to be able to handle the day. So,
no. Like going back to that, like fight or flight. Like we still have like ancient software in our brains, and back when we were cavemen, we were dealing at one task at a time. It was like, we're hunting, we're protecting, we're breeding, and the brain's good at focusing on singular tasks. And these days, there's just so much coming at us in terms of input. Social media, emails, but also family, friends, our social networks are so much broader because of that connectivity. So, and our brain just goes into that old hardwiring of fight or flight. So your amygdala shuts down, which is where your decision making and like rational thought lives, and your monkey brain takes over. And that's why stress and overwhelm can hit. And you're like, hang on a minute, I'm not trying to get I'm not getting eaten by a lion, but that doesn't matter because it's just a neurochemical thing. And yeah, so it's nothing to blame yourself for, and it's understandable because like everyone goes through it, we go through it. It's just learning to recognize it and then manage it. And I loved what, you were showing me this thing the other day about that Japanese philosophy, is it fa?
Yeah.
Where they celebrate the space in between things. So the silence in between things, whether that be like architecture or music, or the beauty is in the pauses. And so like that happens so rarely these days, where you actually just pause and take time in the middle of a day, in the middle of a week, whatever that might look like, to let yourself breathe. And it's not just that's what you need to do to release the tap, but it also can be the most productive thing you can do as well, because if you're just jumping from one to-do list to another, you're never giving yourself that chance to be creative or come up with the next thing.
I know, and then you can like zoom properly out, can't you, and be like, why am I spending like, I know we have to work, obviously, but like, why am I so stressed about this thing that I'm just like doing every day, when what really actually even matters in the world is like your relationships and having fun and enjoying life. And it is a choice. I say sometimes it doesn't feel like a choice because you feel like you have to do all these things and you have to progress, but like it is a choice, isn't it, in terms of how the narrative that you tell yourself about what you're doing, and recognizing it, having that awareness to be like, right, I'm feeling really stressed and overwhelmed. What's within my control? What's out of my control? What's realistic? Like, do it or ditch it. Bev James' book. I just think, and don't get me wrong, there are periods in your life where you actually just don't have much choice, and it is shit.
And I think we're talking about this because, from a personal position, this is probably my biggest work on.
Is it?
I think, and that underlying sort of feeling of pressure that you should be doing more, you should be doing better. And that's not necessarily down to comparison. I don't think I live in that comparison world as much as some people. I think it actually comes from just personal pressure that I put on myself to achieve. And I think that is quite useful at times, and it's probably helped when it comes to professional sport or doing the things we're doing, but it also can be really stressful and destructive. And you're right, it's the times where you got to question that and go, is this actually helping me? Is this feeling of I need more, I need to keep progressing useful? And I think it is at times, but at other times it's definitely not. And actually that emotion has the opposite effect, because you end up saying yes to too many things, having far too many tabs open in your head, and then doing none of them well, because you've pushed too hard in too many different directions at the same time.
I think another thing, going back to your the tabs, I think it was a really nice analogy we saw the other day about thinking...
You good to go off-road in here?
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay.
The tabs analogy we were talking about the other day.
Yeah.
Where if you picture how many tabs you've got open on your laptop, which some people have more tabs open.
You are guilty of that.
No, Kimberly is worse.
Oh,
Her tabs are so small that you can't even see them. But she says it's organised chaos.
Oh, this is going to be windy on the old mics.
Yeah. But yeah, if you actually were to picture your tabs on your computer of all of the things that are actually going on in your brain and all the decisions you haven't made yet, all of the relationships that you're trying to look after, then think about that as your mental load. It's a lot, right? And actually the RAM might break down because there's so much going on. So how do you close the loops on those tabs? Which is, I think, I see this in you all the time.
Yeah.
You're desperate to finish a task, and the worst thing is when you've got a massive task, with you finishing your book, how do you feel like you've closed the loop on that?
Yeah,
Did you come up with anything?
No, I mean, I did over time, and a lot. The irony was, especially, this is my third book now, so you get into more of you start to understand your own style of writing, and I spent time speaking to a lot of professional authors, and everyone has a different way of writing. And really amazing bit of advice that I was given once was to actually, the way my brain works is because of those, what you're talking about, the tabs being open and closing the loops, you can't close a whole loop on a book because that means you'd have to sit down for 6 months and just write. And there's obviously other things going on. So also when the task is that big, it seems really daunting. And then you end up just doing nothing. That whole swallow the frog analogy.
Yeah.
So Amy advised that I sit down for just 1 hour or 90 minutes every morning as like a routine, and I start writing. Or I don't start writing, but I work on the book. Some days I would write 2,000 words, some days I'd write nothing and just stare at my laptop. But it was a lot easier to digest the fact that when that 90-minute ends, that's it for the day. I don't have to think about the book again until the next day. And actually those little bits every day gave a lot more progress, but it's still difficult because I need deadlines as well. That's massive because I'm a massive productive procrastinator. So if I find resistance in one direction, I'll find something else useful to do, but then I'm still not actually doing the thing that I should be doing. And when you've got a lot of different workflows, it's easy to jump from one to the other. And also, I'm too reactionary. So if an email lands, I just have to reply to it straight away.
Yeah, you do that.
You're really good at parking it and waiting till you get round to that, subject, business, whatever it might be, to go through everything you're going through. Whereas I'm like a fucking magpie. I'm like, ooh, email, ooh. oh, that's a great idea. Let's start a new podcast. Oh, let's write another book.
Where do you think that comes from with you? What is it?
It's hard to know if it's always been there because when I was playing rugby, you are given such a routine that you can't get distracted. You've got this single focus. It's like you have to turn up at this time, you eat this, you wear this, you do these drills, you do these weights programs. Life's very sort of singular and actually quite simple. But I think maybe it comes from, or it was exaggerated by the feeling of not ever being able to do any of those things again. So I went into like, fuck it, say yes to everything mode after my accident because I had to lie there and consider not ever being able to do anything or just feeling like I was going to be a burden on everyone. So I started saying yes to too much.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a nice problem to have, I suppose, rather than not being able to say yes to anything. But it can lead you into places where now often I feel like I'm just not giving any one thing.
Yeah,
doing
the
it
most
justice.
you could. Yeah. One thing I have noticed about you actually is that, you, like, I think when I pick up that you're stressed, it's normally because you're not able to work on the thing that you want to be working on, or like.
Yeah.
You've taken something on and you're like, oh God, is this actually going to get me to where I want to be? Because that's the only problem when you say yes to lots of stuff. You've got to be really clear about what your mission is, what your values are, and if it all adds up to that. Because if it does, then you should feel that sense of alignment.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, and it's starting to take up time and energy, and you resent it, then it feels frustrating. So I guess we've both done so much work on ourselves, really, haven't we? That our awareness is quite strong now. But
well, the thing is, we've got like our black belts in personal development. We've literally been head in it for 10 years, and we teach it, we deliver it. We, from all the way from school kids through to young adults been through trauma to business leaders, and write books on it. But we still get it wrong, and we still have to remind ourselves.
It's constant learning,
and
isn't it?
I think it always will be, and it always should be. But it's interesting. You get to a point where it's rare you hear anything new or revolutionary
in the personal development world.
But then when you've had your head in it for a long time, but then you'll hear something that and you're like, shit, I haven't been doing that. And sometimes it's stuff you've even written. You've even come up with these things.
Oh God, yeah.
So it's actually about, I think, removing some of the noise and boiling down to like your 5 or 6 truths when it comes to these sorts of things. And
also they you practice them, don't you? And yes, some of them fall away and you have to remind yourself, but like we are probably doing them more, or we pick up that we're not doing it quicker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's better to be aware of it than not aware of it in the first place, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it's just, the habits that get stronger the older that you get as well, the more you do it. So,
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think.
How are you finding it up this hill? Sounds like talking and you're
I
a
mean,
bit out of
it's
breath
quite
here.
hard work,
Isn't it hard walking with one
It's
leg?
pretty hard being inefficient.
Yeah, welcome to
Oh,
my world.
God. But yeah, fair play to you. Yeah. So.
Do you want to stop for
Do
a
you
bit?
feel? Do you want to sound really out of breath? Oh, look at that! That is beautiful.
Face away from the wind for a bit so you can hear us.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how overwhelmed do you feel at the moment?
Right now, I don't feel overwhelmed at all because, like, we're outside, we're walking, we're doing something productive.
But isn't that funny? Like 2 days ago.
Oh, overwhelmingly overwhelmed, and I still haven't completed any of the things that were making me overwhelmed.
Same.
But
I did a bit.
I've managed to release the pressure. Like I've got a deadline at the end of next week, but I've also got 3 days in London, 2 days this weekend of the charity in Dorset. It's like I'm trying to think of when I'm going to have time to finish this piece for the deadline, and that was really winding me up. But now it's not, because I've released some pressure from other areas. It didn't mean I had to go and complete that. Also, like health. I know this is a whole different topic. If you're feeling healthy or fit, or you're looking after your general well-being, it's a lot easier to deal with overwhelm.
100%.
Like the physical resources and resilience also turns into mental, psychological resources and resilience. And if you're tired, not sleeping well, hungover, whatever it might be, it's so much easier to flip into overwhelm. So often
we burnt the candle at both ends last weekend, didn't we?
Yeah,
so.
because you were let out for the first time. You'd like missed socialising.
So
I was trying to go to bed. You're like, come here.
Yeah, my bad this time, which is never my bad.
No.
But yeah, that has definitely had a knock-on effect to the feeling of overwhelm this week.
And sometimes relieving pressure is like a good way to do that is go and see your mates and have a few drinks. It should never be a crutch if that's your thing to do. Socialising and being distracted is really important. But if you are in a stressful time of like you've got to get a lot of stuff done, and sometimes you just do, if you're also not looking after your health, like well-being, if you're like, well, I don't have time to go to the gym, or I don't have time to go for a walk, that is the worst thing you can do, not just for your brain, but for your productivity.
Yeah. Do you know what as well, which we're not very good at, is routine. So like the more routine, I know, I blame you for this. The more routine you have, the less decisions you have to make daily. So like, I mean, this is one of James Clear's biggest tips that I took away was like, if you want to go to the gym in the morning, get out your gym kit the night before and put it by your bed. So it's just like one like less thing to think about when you're in that decision mode of, oh, I can't be asked, should I go?
Yeah.
Then it just makes it easier for you. And if you can try and have to make less decisions because things are just set up for you, then it just then it decreases the amount of stress that you're going to have.
Yeah, 100%. So what are the overarching lessons here? I think, first of all, everyone gets overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up about it.
Awareness. So notice what's happening in your body when you're feeling overwhelmed. Are your shoulders tight? Is your jaw clenched? Like, recognise it first, because that means that you can do something about it a bit quicker.
Understand your toolkit. So what is the quickest ways for you to relieve stress or pressure? So basically, what makes you feel good anyway? Is it hanging around with certain people? Is it going out walking your dog? Is it reading a bit of sci-fi? Whatever it might be, know what your tools are so that you can lean in and use them when you need them.
Yeah. And then, try and put a bit more routine into your life to be able to stop all of the million decisions that you've got to make, just to give your brain a little bit more of an easy time.
And easy time. And the last one is on the broader, more zoomed out scale. Don't do things that don't serve you or you don't want to do. And this is me speaking to myself here. Say no to stuff. Get better at saying no to stuff. It might seem like it's a great opportunity or something you should say yes to, but it might be so far down the line, you're just doing it, you're saying yes to keep people happy, and then it'll come round and you're like, oh my God, I really didn't need this.
Like me saying
right
yes to walking up this hill with you, Alfred.
Yeah.
It's been good for me.
Fair.
It's been good for me.
So
I'm glad we're feeling less stressed, Ed. That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to feel stressed around here. It's absolutely, like this time of year, a day like this in this country.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
And a lovely weekend with our Together Outdoors beneficiaries. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
So yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you think this could be useful for anyone, please feel free to share. Drop some comments underneath. We'll try and get back to you. And also, you can jump over to our Instagrams, HeadJackson8 and Lois Jackson8, because she copied my handle. Where we are sort of, you know, a lot more of our lives ends up on there. So
also, you should come to Lanhydrock. It is amazing.
Yeah, great place.
You might have time to go and look at the house.
People think National Trust venues are for old people, and I know we're probably quite old now, but we'll definitely bring the average age down. But I mean, there's some stunning parts of this country where you can get in and walk around like this, and a lot of them are accessible as well. So anyone with mobility issues, plenty of options out there. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.